YouTube, my battery's about to die. Can you believe it? What up, YouTube? This is my very first live. I don't know if anybody's going to show up, but I need to get used to doing this. So we're going to see if we can make it happen. Um, Hopefully, y'all just saw the video I just dropped, right? The video I just dropped is covering plyometrics, right? Jumping. That's what fancy word for jumping, right? And the coach who actually made the video had 7 exercises. And I love the exercises in the video because they cover different aspects of plyometric, just different aspects of jumping. All right. Relevant to sprinting. All right. Relevant to sprinting. So when I say that, you have different jumps that are more appropriate for different aspects of sprinting. So example, one of the jumps in the video, I just dropped it. You need to check it out. One of the jumps is the long jump. Now, when we think about long jump, we think about what? Horizontal projecting the body forward as far as we can, right? That's the acceleration phase of the sprint, right? That's the acceleration phase of the sprint when we do that. So another example you're going to see in the video, hurdle hops. Hurdle hops are when you basically hopping over hurdles, right? But your positioning of your body is different. So your body is more attacking the ground from a vertical aspect. Going back to the long jump, when we do our long jumps, we're projecting forward. We're attacking the ground from more of a horizontal perspective. All right, we're doing that. So yeah, horizontal perspective, driving the body forward, trying to cover as much ground as we can during our acceleration phase of the drive phase of the sprint. Right, so we're doing that. Um, Again, hurdle hops are more vertical perspective. Um, pogos. Pogos are one of my favorite plyometric exercises. A pogo is, imagine yourself being a stiff pogo stick, right? A pogo stick. When that pogo stick makes contact with the ground, it has to minimize ground contact time. As a sprinter, the last thing you want to do is spend a lot of time on the ground or have that heel strike the ground, right? And I'm gonna give you an example. A video I'm gonna post later this week. The coach talks about um, the ankle striking the ground during acceleration, right? So this athlete he has in the video, he's a advanced level athlete, right? So he slows the video down. What up, Adeline? What's up, Adeline? He slows the video down, right? And you see his foot ankle complex. I'm great. I'm great. The weather is lovely out here. How many donuts can you stack on it? How many donuts can I stack on it? On the I'm not sure. I'm not sure about the donuts. The donuts. Who? Let me see who that is. You talking donuts? We might know each other personally. Cause I'll crush me some Dunkins. Judge me if you must. Not Dunkins. What am I saying? I'll crush me some Krispy Kremes. Judge me as you must once again. But I get in there. I get in there, right? So how many donuts can you stack on it? I'm not sure. I gotta be honest with you, but I want to get back to that pogo, those pogos, right? So look at yourself at the pogo stick. The pogo stick. Adeline, you love that joke. I wish I was joking. I kill him. You put a 6-pack in front of me, put 6 Krispy Kremes in front of me and see what happens. See what happens. All right. Anyway, on the pogos, right? A pogo. Think of yourself as a human pogo stick. When that pogo stick hits the ground, it bounces right back up, right? Then how many subscribers do you have? Close to 2,000. I'm getting there. Close to 2. We're putting in the work. I'm gonna do more of these, and Adeline Pill, 2,000. Yeah, 2,000. I mean, I'm sorry, close to 2,000. I want to do more of these lives and hopefully build that up. But hopefully we're here. 24. Hey, you gotta start somewhere, right? I'll subscribe. I'll subscribe. Can I do that right now? I'll subscribe afterwards. After this, you'll have 25 at least. And hopefully, the other 6 people here will subscribe and join you as well. All right. But going back to jumping, right? So, picture that pogo stick. Picture that pogo stick. You're a human pogo stick, right? When that pogo stick hits the ground, it bounces right back up. The last thing we want to do as that human pogo stick is to spend too much time on the ground, right? So that's called the amortization phase of the sprint. The video I just dropped deals with plyometrics, right? That's why I decided to make this live. The video I just dropped deals with plyometrics. So plyometrics has 3 phases. I'm standing up under the basketball court. I'm about to jump. So what do? I drop my hips and load, right? That's called the eccentric phase of the jump or the plyometric. What's happening there is all your muscles are lengthening. They're taking on that load, right? They're taking on that load, right? Next, what do? We jump, try to touch the basket, try to touch the rim, right? At that point, all the muscles rapidly contract, right? So, hey, what's up? What's up, Glade? What's up, Glade? Thanks for stopping by. Can I say hi? I don't know how to say. Hey, just for y'all, just to let y'all know, this is my first live. It says wave to next 2 people, so I click on it. Then it says add, remove, all this other stuff. So I'm gonna have to say hi to Glade and Caliorico right here because YouTube ain't helping too much as far as saying hi to y'all. So I'm gonna say hi to everybody right here as you roll in, and I appreciate you rolling in. 14 deep, I love it, I love it. So if you're here, you want to get faster. Point number one. Number two, we're diving deeply into sprinting today. We're talking about plyometrics. I was just talking about the 3 phases of plyometrics or the jump, right? Phase number one, when you're loading your hips, you jump. That's the eccentric phase. That's when your muscles load. Everything's lengthening. They load and lengthen, right? Then we actually jump. That's the concentric phase. That's when the muscles rapidly contract, right? But here's the key. There's a moment in between where the magic happens, right? It's called the amortization phase. Hello, Glade. Hello. Thanks for stopping by. The amortization phase. That's the time you spend on the ground. That amortization phase has to be as rapid and as quick as possible, right? Or you're going to spend too much time on the ground and you're going to compromise your ability to produce force. All right. So that's super important that you understand that concept when you're doing your jump training. All right. As we go throughout this live, hope my phone doesn't die. I'm gonna get my charger. As we go throughout this live, I'm gonna talk about having the mindset or the intent as well when you're doing anything but specifically speed training today. All right. So we talked about the 3 phases. We talked about loading, we talked about unloading, exploding up, and then we talked about the amortization phase in between. All right. So there's different types of plyos address different types of jumping. All right. So I'm gonna give you an example. I talked about this early in the very beginning before people started rolling in. We have a long jump. If put a 1 in the comments if you know what a long jump is, right? So we have a long jump. That's a great plyometric for that's a great plyometric for your start or acceleration phase of the sprint, right? It's great for that, right? So, but then we have something like a hurdle hop. You're going to see that in the video. The hurdle hop, you're hopping over hurdles. You're addressing the ground, you're presenting into the ground from a more of a vertical perspective. So that could be considered like a top velocity exercise. It can be considered a reactive exercise, right? The acceleration is, and the long jump is going backwards. The long jump is an acceleration, a drill that addresses acceleration, all right? We're not attacking the ground vertically. It's more of a horizontal projection. Our legs are behind our hips. We're driving the ground back like pistons in an engine, applying much force as we can back into the ground, back behind our hips. That's what projects us forward. Going back to the hurdle hops, straight down, straight up. When you're at top velocity, running your top speed, that's how you're attacking the ground, right? Straight down and straight up. So that's a great plyo for top velocity and reactive. Um, so reactive, going back to the amortization concept. When we say reactive, we want to spend as little time on the ground as possible. As little time on the ground as possible, right? So a good reactive exercise, like I said, hurdle hops, but another one would be line hops. This is something you can do in the living room, right? You can do that in the living room. All you need to do is find something to hop over. You can find, lines in the floor, in the kitchen, and anywhere in the floor. Hop back and forth as many times as you can for 10 seconds, right? And there's certain things you want to pay attention to. right? We want our bodies to be under control as we're hopping back and forth. We want to be aware of the stiffness. I didn't use the word stiffness yet. Minimizing ground contact time as we're hopping back and forth. Add a Q&A sticker. Food that's better at home. All right, let's add this Q&A sticker. See what happens. Food that's better homemade. That's not what I'm. Okay, I'm gonna put. I have a question I'm about to ask. This is my first live. I'm just playing with the tools a little bit. Hang on with me. I'm writing this question for y'all, and I want y'all to answer it. All right. Hold up, hold up. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Okay. Done. Okay. Do y'all see that? What is your number one speed challenge? It says start the Q&A. I guess the Q&A is started. What is your number one speed challenge? All right. Have that up there. Now, I'm going to proceed with the plyometric lecture. I got to remember where I left off. We talked about different type of plyometrics. I think we talked about the line hop. So when we're doing the line hops, that's a reactive plyo. You're minimizing ground contact time, but it also requires a great deal of body control, proprioception, that's your body's awareness in space, so it challenges you in many different ways, right? And reactive, just when you think reactive, plyos, just think minimizing ground contact time, right? When you think the long jump, we're thinking about covering ground as much as we can, projecting our body forward as much as we can. Any acceleration type jumps, we're going this way, right? Top velocity, we're attacking the ground from a more vertical aspect, right? And the next thing, my phone's getting low. The next thing I want to talk about is how we can add load to our jumps, right? How we can add load to our jumps. What do I mean by load? A great example of a load is a medicine ball, right? In the video I posted Sunday, you can go back and check it on the channel. They have one of my clients. He's holding the ball way above his head, slamming it as hard as he can, and then throwing it right back up, right? That's an example of a medicine ball plyometric. You'll also see at the end of the drill one of my pitchers loading his hips, loading like we talked about, lengthening his muscles, and whipping the ball forward, to increase his throwing velocity, right? So those are forms of upper body plyometrics using medicine balls. Okay, so we can do that. That's another option. So what else? Medicine balls. Oh, single leg versus bilateral. So unilateral, one leg versus two legs, or bilateral, right? So when it comes to that, when it comes to unilateral, one leg, bilateral, two legs, everything is a progression when it comes to plyometrics or jumping. I don't want you guys to just randomly jump out here and start doing single leg hops. Right? You need to build a foundation with our two leg jumps. That's all we've been talking about up to this point, right? Um, we talked about our long jumps. We talked about bounding. We talked about pogos. These are all two leg exercises, and that's your foundation. Now, once these start becoming a little easier for you, right? You feel light. You feel like you're bouncing, right? That's when we can progress to say maybe some one leg bounds, right? Some single leg long jumps. That's a super advanced exercise. Single leg long jumps, right? Single leg bounds. I haven't talked about bounds yet. That's a super advanced exercise. Single leg pogos, right? These are all. This is your next progression when things get easy. You can also add the medicine ball, like I mentioned before, right? But when you're doing your plyometrics, think of everything as a progression. All right, just don't come out here and start, jumping around without a plan. And that's another point. When you're out here training, if you guys are athletes, when you step on practice, you have a plan. When you step in the game, you have a plan. In this case, plyometrics is absolutely no different. You have to have a plan when you begin that speed training workout. All right? Am I covering acceleration today? Am I covering reactive stuff today? Have a plan when you step on that turf. And you don't want to be out there all day. The reason I say that because plyometrics are very taxing to the body, right? So you have to take adequate rest, right? Give yourself, minute and a half in between, depending on what you're doing. Um, give yourself adequate time in between before you go to the next plyo, right? Jumping, plyo needs to be 100% intensity movement. If you're going out there jumping at 80% for a half an hour, that's not going to get it. All right, that's not going to get with the goals that you want. My phone's about to die, so I'm rolling and running to get my charger. But okay, so I think I covered everything I wanted to cover here. Now, y'all stick around because yes, this is for athletes first and foremost. But I also notice a demand for the general population. And I'm going to address that demand by covering more topics that deal with general population, right? Nutrition, fitness, things of that nature. And I have a program that I'm working on right now that deals with nutrition, and it's great for weight loss, building endurance, and burning fat, all that good stuff. So hold on one second. I'll put this down. All right, I'm back. So that's what you need to be looking out for right there. Videos covering those topics, general population. That could be your parents, that could be your coaches, that could be teachers, that can be anybody, right? Trying to load this thing up. This thing powered up. All right, there we go. So I think I'm gonna shut it down right here. I'm excited I accomplished my first live with you guys, and expect many more. I'm gonna try to do it multiple times a week. So you guys have a great rest of the week, and I will see you again soon. Peace. I gotta figure out how to end this thing. Oh, there it is.